Hey everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. This is your host, Dr. TK. And on this Abundant Streams of Income series that we are doing, that we've actually been doing over the last few episodes, we have another epic guest. She is not a stranger to our podcast. She's been on here before, probably over a year ago at this point. But this is in a different season where we are integrating some of our past clinicians who graduated from various programs. We're trying to figure out where they are now and what they're doing now. Because a lot of people who listen to the podcast or come to the boot camps are like, okay, they came to the event, they joined the program. This is what they're working on. But what are they doing now? Because I want to have hope, of being consistent and showing up in my business. And so I want to introduce Dr. Rochelle back to the podcast.
Hey, family.
Hey. So let them know your licensure type, where you're located, and overall, and we'll break them down though, but what do you have going on in your business right now, like streams of income?
Okay. So I am Dr. Ro. I am a New York State licensed psychologist. I am a certified school psychologist. And in my business, I am currently seeing clients. I am selling books. If anybody has seen me online, you know that I have a teen mental health journal, and I have also started a dissertation support group. So those are the things that I am actively in, and it's been a ride.
Yeah, and then you have a solo private practice for teenagers still?
Yes. Yep. Right. Transitional age youth, and I have a nice group of college students now. So that's really nice to see them go from level to level.
Yeah, that's good. So just to give y'all a little bit of back history, and then we'll speed things up, is I met Dr. Rochelle, it had to be 6 years ago. I know it was the year before I had Avery or something. So it had to be 2017, 18 or something.
18, 18. Right after he was born.
Yeah. So I like to talk about journeys because during the Streams of Income, at the time of this recording, we're actually in the Streams of Income bootcamp, and I'm introducing the clinicians and healers and providers who are tuning in that it is a journey to tap into an area of business itself, then to add a mental health business on top of that. It is a journey that some of us underestimate, because we assume that when we get the degree, we get the licensure, that boom, we can just do stuff in our business. So I'd also like to bring different types of therapists on here to share journeys. So I know that our journey together was interesting and very different than a lot of people in our program, where Dr. Rochelle came to me when I was doing one-on-ones, right? And it was during that season where I was exploring, do I want to do group programs, right? So she had the opportunity to meet with me one-on-one, went out to New York for a trip, and I ended up meeting with her too there. And that was great. And then about 6 months later or something like that, I was like, hey, I'm launching a group program. Do you want to be part of it if you still want to open up a private practice once you get licensed? And she was like, heck yeah. So that's how she entered into our community aspect. And then that just grew over time into, I'm going to say, you had an implementation year or two after DTA. You showed up when you needed the support for your private practice. You got licensed during that process. And then we opened up the doors to our mastermind. And I think the first, you joined in the first year where you came just to the masterminds and got the online support through the course. And then you decided to join the higher level at that time, because we had 2 tiers, to get the one-on-one access. So during that time, you launched your book. It's a good book, y'all. I got one for my cousin, my mom got it. And I'm like, oh, this is like a hardcover.
Yes, I work with it.
Yeah, Spiral Real Journal, So talk to us first about what's going on in your private practice. How many clients do you see on average a week? What's that look like?
Right now, I am at 15 clients, and I'm happy there. I will say that, you kind of go through your ups and downs where, I need to see 20, I need to see 17. And I realized that 15 is really my sweet spot. So I stay there. I may do 17, but I'm at 15 now, and I enjoy it. I love it. It makes my life. a lot
And is it
easier.
all cash pay, your private practice, or
I
some insurance?
I do insurance, so I do both.
Okay.
I
All
do
right.
both.
I like to ask that because clinicians want to know like what's
Mhm.
possible. And I
Yeah,
always say like insurance is not like the devil. It's just you figuring out what panel works for you for the amount you want to get paid and the clients you want to serve.
absolutely. There have been times where companies have reached out and I see that they're paying like $75. I'm like, bruh, like
Mhm.
I
New
can't.
York, so like absolutely not.
Like, I would need to see, like, 30 people to live. So,
Mhm.
yeah, so really being intentional about who I'm going to see and what I can do, and if I can't see you, then get the journal,
Yeah,
and
that's
I'll refer
good.
you to somebody else. Yeah.
So actually, let's talk about that. What made you write the journal in the first place?
Um, I had conversations with, teenagers that I worked with, and they all kinda seemed to have the same issues.
Mhm.
So, during, COVID, I was looking at everything that was on, television, and I added some more things in, and I started, writing, and my brain actually, like, just started to think more. I was in my first year of, business,
Mhm.
and people would see me on line and people would be in Florida, Texas,
Mhm.
like, I want to see you. And I'm like, I can't. So I can't be everywhere, but my journal can be where I'm not.
That's good.
So
I
that
love
was
that.
the motivation that if I can't see you, you can have this. It's, a piece of me and
Mhm.
it's been great. It has traveled to many, many states
Mhm.
and I'm just glad that people are really, taking advantage of what is out here.
Yeah. Where
Yeah.
has you so I know that we've had like conversations in our mastermind last year and the year before actually about bulk sales. So can you talk a little bit about what not the process because we don't want to give away all your gems of what you do, but like just sharing with therapists who are or authors that listen to this,
Mhm.
what's possible in terms of getting your book beyond a one-on-one person that you meet to like a bulk of people at the same time.
I think the main thing is knowing who to, talk to, knowing who the, power players are,
Mhm.
and knowing that, um, you almost have to look for anybody that does kind of like what you do and who works with who this book needs to go to.
Mhm.
So working with schools, but not just schools. I'm thinking about churches, parent groups, after school groups, summer groups. So just knowing like where those are and who you need to talk to and just getting creative like in terms of how you market it.
Yeah.
So I did a video and that was something that I was like, really? Like I gotta do a video. But the feedback was, oh my gosh, like this is so great. This is so amazing. So
Mhm.
now when I don't want to like talk, I can just send the video over and
Yeah.
it's 2 minutes long. People get it. They're like, this is great. Um, so that's one piece, but also being aware that people want to be able to see it and know what they're going to get.
Yes. Yeah.
So there have been times where if if anybody knows me, like I hustle a little bit. So I'm
A
like,
little bit.
let me give away my coins to people. And I had a very hard time at first, like giving out samples because I was like, people are gonna want to make copies and then I'm not gonna get paid and stuff. But there have been times where I've given a copy to a founder of an organization, director of an organization, and then they've come back like, this is amazing. The teams, they love it. So now we want to order 50 books.
Mhm. Mhm.
So me and my little $30, like I gave away that, but then I made back like, you know,
Mhm.
1,000, 1,500. So
Yeah.
I think just being aware that you may have to do that And it's not a bad thing. Like, you definitely have to look at what you're going to get back on the back end. So you
Mhm.
give, but you get back more.
Yeah. Well, I like what you spoke about in terms of really what we're talking about is mindset, because
Hmm.
I think that what you said in terms of the fear of somebody making copies and things like that, that is a real fear that prevents people from putting out books, books, digital products that are downloadable, putting stuff in an online course. But one of the things that even we've talked about, and I actually said it yesterday in the boot camp, like, I'm probably gonna put it on Instagram today, like, clones don't get paid.
Right.
Right. And so somebody can technically take anything that you have, but at some point, you do want to shift your mindset to say, but the deliverability of even them trying to mock like what I wrote, like it is not going to be the same. Their video, their energy is not going to be the same. They're going to walk into a school and do a pitch about the book, and it's not going to be the same. And
Right.
so I love how you were able to honestly get out of your own way to
Hmm.
recognize that the biggest thing is what is the outcome? You said you want to hustle, right? So the biggest outcome is to sell more books. And if you can get your sample in the right hands of the right person, they actually have more reach than you do. They can reach people that
Hmm.
you've never met, you
Yeah.
know? So I want people to hear that, because we can get stuck in that mindset. And then what happens is you never put out your product because
Right.
you're so scared that somebody's going to steal it. I mean, we don't even know when motivational speakers speak who was a real person that said that. Because at some point, you listen to 5,000 people and everybody's saying the same thing, but nobody gives nobody credit. Like, who really said this? Did it come from Jesus? In like 1800? Because I don't know.
Where?
Right.
Where?
So I do want to back up, because there's something that you mentioned that ties into the journey, right?
Hmm.
So I always make this joke, but I think it's
Hmm.
real, which is like people walk around with books in their phone. They walk
Hmm.
around with books on Canva in their Google Docs, meaning you have all these ideas. You've worked with teenagers in schools, and I'm sure throughout your, internship years too. So
Hmm.
bottom line is, I want to highlight to people that like even your journey didn't start when you just wanted to write the book. You had probably been creating journal prompts for
Yeah.
people, out
Yeah.
loud. You
Yeah.
also were doing services in your church, correct?
Hmm.
Like in terms of workshops. That's how we started meeting. You were doing workshops in your church,
Yeah. And
right?
then what happens? Church has a little bookstore there. My book is in a bookstore.
Yeah.
So, you never know like who needs what you have,
Hmm.
you know.
And this
So,
is 4 years later.
right,
Like if we talking about the journey of, I
yeah.
think I want to provide services in my church. Can you help? Because I think you came for like getting speaking.
Yeah.
I want to speak to my church about workshops.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that went into private practice, then into integrating it all into.
Now I'm back there.
Hmm.
So, you know what I mean? So it really is a whole circle of just where I began and where I am now.
Yes.
And just know that, yes, your product can be great, and it may take time for it to get where it has to go.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking about focusing on groups like last year, and now it's like all of these group orders are coming in because
Nice.
people are dealing with budgets. And my budget is gonna close at the end of the year. I need to get these books in now.
Hmm.
And I ordered books before and they were great. Now I need more. So, keeping those lines of communication open with any group that has ordered before, like, you can circle back around like, hey, don't you have a
Hmm.
group graduating? This would be a perfect gift. Last year
Hmm.
it worked well, you know.
But you
So,
got to be the one to follow up. And that, again, is a trait of a business owner, knowing that in order to continue to increase revenue, you have to speak up. Never assume that it's going to drop on your doorstep.
never, never.
Yeah. So let's transition, because I know that you have something epic going on right now. So, and this was also a work and play,
Mhm.
um, in which, just for anyone who's listening, to launch a product or service, even if you are all in love with it, it is still a process, and it is something that you have to test out
Yeah.
over and over again. So can you tell us what's going on currently with taking another leap of faith?
Yes, I have a dissertation support group. It's titled Pivot to Completion, where we are offering um, practical and emotional support to people who are going through that process. And when you're writing a dissertation, it can be a lonely place. A lot of people do not finish because life happens, like if you have kids, if you're working, trying to like balance it all, your family doesn't really understand it. And dealing with your committee can be something that's very challenging because you don't really know what you can say, what you shouldn't say, what you should do. So we are in the beginning stages, but I really think that even being in ECM was helpful in just knowing that, again, it's going to take time for you to nurture your audience and trying some new things, going to some different places. So while
this is a different avatar, I do want to just pause there because
completely.
one thing I do want to give you kudos for before you continue is like you could have, I'm gonna say easily, just rolled out of bed and said, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. But you made the choice to do what we do practice in our programs. This is all of our programs actually, where if you're going to focus on private practice and finish it, finish the systems, build it out, test it out, make sure you know how to get clients. Then you move on to the next stream of income. And if I create a timeline for people, November 2021, we were at the Vidara in Vegas, and I got a picture of it. I think we got video of like you standing in front of the room with the index card and shooting your shot with the group for your hot seat and saying, I need to do bulk sales, help me. And luckily, we did have people in that room who worked in school districts, like Dr. Kamani and Latanya and them. And they were just like, everybody else was pouring into you. But then I was like, nah, hear from the people who actually just left a school system, who've been gave at least a decade, like they like there, And so you allowed yourself to stay there, even though you had the idea of a dissertation group, at least out loud with us or with me at the beginning of last year. But you still made the choice to say, let me, and dip and private practice were happening because everybody was going back to normal life after 2020. So you were like, let me make sure my private practice is stabilized. You were teaching. So you were making sure that everything was good, because as we talk about a stream of income, like a ship or a yacht, it's like you want to make sure that your main boat can stay afloat and you know how to plug in the holes before you dock it and get off another one and then act like it can just go out and sell again. And I just want to kudos that to you, because a lot of people don't have the capacity to stop themselves.
It's hard. It is so hard. It's hard. It's hard, y'all. It's hard. No.
Because you have a lot of ideas, which makes you a visionary of your business.
Yeah. But I knew that it was something that I wanted to be serious about. I knew that it's something that I do want to last long. And you said something very interesting when we were like talking about it, and you were just saying how this is a whole nother group of like people who you need to introduce yourself to, and like that's going to take time. Like knowing that, like I'm already seeing what I'm going to do at year 5, but people don't even know who I am or what I do
in year 1.
Right. I'm like, so between that, talking with peers who have gone through this whole process, and even them saying, listen, I know that you're on Instagram and like that's your thing, but for real, Twitter is where all of the coaches are. Like you need to get on there. And I haven't been on Twitter in like 10 years. And I had to join Twitter. Like I joined like a couple of weeks, maybe like a month ago. And it's easier because I can just talk, and it's like, okay, I did, a couple of tweets today, and you just are expanding like who I'm around. So I think that part has really been great, because on Instagram, there are times when you kind of feel like, dang, I feel like I've reached everybody here, or, I just don't know.
The algorithm is not fun.
No, and they changed it again. So, on Twitter, it's like a whole new world. And my reach is further there. So really focusing on, okay, so this is what we're going to do, but this is how we're going to expand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's
So
been good.
let's talk about that for a moment, because you've mentioned the importance of peers. I know that
Mhm.
you got circles, but I know that like within our community, you definitely got a deep circle. And so, can you talk about the importance of having a circle of people that are cheerleaders and helping you go to the next level, and they're ready to ride with you and not like hate on you? I don't know how to say it.
They are so amazing. I talk to a couple of people a week,
Mhm.
and believe it or not, they actually helped me get my private practice almost like solid before I moved into this.
Mhm.
So um they share what they have, and nobody is trying to hold stuff. So, like, this
Yeah.
is all mine, and you can't borrow it. Like, they're like, what do you need? Call me, shoot me a text. We'll have our little short calls, 20
Mhm.
minutes, like, okay, you good? All right, cool. Next week we're gonna meet for an hour and just talk, you know?
Mhm.
So between that and then also just like managing life along with a business, speaking with them has just really been great.
Mhm.
So yeah, it is just such a group where everybody just kind of just knows where we're all at.
Mhm.
Like,
Well,
oh,
one of the things that I love is you talked about I'm gonna call it bartering. At least that's
mhm,
what how we talked about it in ECM is like, and it actually came up in that mastermind November 2021. I get the
mhm,
dates mixed up, but it was
yeah,
2021. 2020 and 2021 is like a blur. And so I recall we had just introduced that activity where y'all had to get
mhm,
up, and I'm like, it's 12 of y'all, because we had half the cohort there. And
mhm,
I'm like, y'all sitting on a pot of gold. That was the name of the activity. You sitting on a pot of gold. And it was very fascinating, honestly, to see y'all face. That was actually the crying mastermind. But because it was emotional for y'all to, I think, recognize the growth, within the room amongst each other, let alone yourself. But what
right.
I loved about that activity that you're speaking to, that again, a lot of people, not just therapists,
Mhm,
um, unconsciously do, is you block yourself from getting help because you don't even want to share your gift with somebody else. And your
right.
gift can be outside the therapy realm. Like, you're a college professor, for example, you know how to put together a syllabus. So
Mhm,
if let's just say you don't want a coaching program, you like, let's put the dissertation stuff aside. You're like, I just want to sell my books, right? But you know how to put a syllabus together. That
mhm,
actually crosses over to the coaching realm, especially for an online course,
right.
right? So if you know how to put things together structurally and put it together in bite-sized pieces, that can even help somebody who's building a group practice to say, I don't know why it's not hitting. And you
Mhm,
can say, let me see your online portal, online course. And you could be like,
right.
you ain't even got no introduction. You didn't even tell them
Mhm,
what to expect. You just said start lesson one. You didn't give them no introduction. You didn't tell them it's going to be a 5-part module. Like,
right.
that's a syllabus. That's what we do in college. That's what we're
Mhm,
used to. So why you didn't do it? So
right.
we're sitting on a pot of gold. And I love that you all have actually implemented the act of collaboration, not just
Mhm,
say it's important. I see that, because we just interviewed her the other day,
uh-huh.
that you are sitting on somebody's panel at a conference.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all taking it above and beyond your products and services.
Yeah, I mean, I do teach still, and I have somebody coming in to do a class.
Mm,
So I don't have to teach, but I can see my, ECM sister teach,
mhm.
and also
No.
it's something that she wants to do. So I'm
Mhm.
like, you can you know, practice on my students. Like,
Yeah.
I know that you're good. So,
Mhm.
it's
Yes.
legit. But, it's an opportunity.
Open up the doors for opportunity, but also for other people just to learn from other people, which is nice.
Mhm. Yeah.
So we are going to link your information up. I do want to wrap up the collaboration piece. If somebody was listening to this episode and they're looking at like, oh, okay, I want to write a book, I want to have some type of online program or something like that. Um, I'm gonna ask you two last questions. What's one thing that you can share with people about the importance of getting help in your business to learn what you don't know? Like, what did that do for you to join the mastermind? I guess is what I'm saying.
I mean, for one, I can honestly say that it taught me that it's possible and that other people are doing it, so you can too.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see folks like where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that is just like the main key.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would say to anybody who is trying to expand is to give yourself time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and be ready for things to shift. Like you have to be ready for the whole change of, scale. Like
Mm-hmm.
your one-on-one practice is probably keeping you afloat. But know that you may have to cut down a bit so that you can spend time working on that new thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you just have to be ready for that change.
Yeah.
And it's just gonna take time. But trust me, if you're at it, it's gonna come.
Mm-hmm.
It will definitely come. Like rewards, the benefits are gonna come, but you gotta work for it and
Yeah.
be focused.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned two intangibles because people are always looking for money wins. And I'm like, you're not gonna get the money wins if you don't have the intangible wins, which is internal.
Mhm,
Last thing I want to ask you is if you could meet the first year of you in business,
mhm.
like not private practice, but I'm talking about like we in business before we know we in business. So if you can, if you can talk to your first year of yourself with opening up a business, like what's one big thing that you would share with her to help her keep going?
I would definitely share to keep going. Like there's like you're gonna fail. There are gonna be things that are not gonna go right the first time. Um, but I would definitely tell her to invest the money like in getting the help that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Like make the sacrifice because it's gonna pay off. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and to be cheerful as you give.
That's good.
Because you don't wanna be like, "I'm paying all this money and I'm here." Like, you want like, you wanna actually be happy with, like, what you're doing and, um, knowing that this is so much like, it's bigger than just you, it's bigger than you, like, making a whole lot of money, but you are actually going to reach people that you may never ever meet,
That's good.
but they will feel, connected to you, so it's gonna matter to the
Mm-hmm.
world. It really
Yeah.
is.
I love it. So listen, I hope that everybody who tuned into this audio and video podcast that they've enjoyed it. We will definitely link up her Instagram page because I know that they all keep their link in bio like updated with all the things. Where can people find you on Instagram and or on Twitter?
You can find me on Instagram at Pivotal Point Psych,
Okay.
and on Twitter, it's Finish with Dr. Rowe.
Okay. Okay.
'Cause I
So
want
we'll
y'all to
definitely link those.
finish.
Yeah. And asking for the like dissertation stuff too.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay. All right.
yes.
So we'll definitely link those up. We'll probably have her back because I like to get updates every 6 months to a year with new students and alumni, just to show people also just the continuity of the importance of consistency with how you show up in your business. And
Mhm.
so I really hope that everybody enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for more abundant streams of income series and interviews. And I will see everybody in the next episode.